A collective moment of silence, please, for Hopper. Again. I think. Amen. Welcome back to me trying my darndest to figure out exactly what it is I am doing, because I keep making promises of videos that are coming soon, and I keep saying here's what I'm not going to do and here's what I am going to do, and then I do the opposite. I promise I'm much more reliable in real life. I'm just going to stop making promises altogether. Hi, quick note. I recorded this video before I left to travel for a little bit. I recorded it the day before I left and thought that I would edit it and put it online that day. I don't know why I thought that was going to be possible. Anyway, enjoy. Like I said, I lied last week when I said that I wouldn't be diving straight into Towers of Midnight. I tried to read other books and I couldn't do it. I really wanted to continue reading Wheel of Time. I don't know why exactly that is. Maybe it's because the books are good. I ended up reading it in like 4 days. I have a problem. So how did I feel about the penultimate entry in Robert Jordan's longest series that he ever wrote and the longest series I've ever read? It was great. Not fantastic, not just good. Great. Not quite at the Gathering Storm, but also not bad. Wheel of Time. I'm going to give it a solid 4 out of 5, which is very good, but I mainly give it that score because its highs were very high, but its lows were also very low. I said several reviews ago that my biggest pet peeve of Wheel of Time are the chapters that are entirely dedicated to one character catching up another character, something we already know. I know that the characters have to catch each other up because they aren't reading it from different perspectives like we are. It's just a little boring to read when we already have all that information. It just kind of feels like a waste of real estate. Knife of Dreams had almost none. Gathering Storm had a few chapters like that. Towers of Midnight had quite a few, I would say too much. But I get it, because Tarmangaden is approaching, so characters are coming together and they're having to catch each other up on what they've been up to, even though we have been witnessing that for the last 6, 7, 8, 9 books. Where am I at these days? All that being said, I giggled like a little chicken when Matt and Perrin met back up. Speaking of Matt, he and Bridget are my new favorite ship. I know that doesn't make any sense, but I giggle like an even littler chicken every time they have a conversation. Do chickens even giggle? Right off the bat, the prologue captured me. Malinarin, who was the final perspective in the prologue, was just a really, really emotional way of starting the story. Wheel of Time, both Jordan and Sanderson have this magical way of introducing a character for 20 pages, and by the end of it, I feel like I'm in love with them. I feel like I need more of them. It's beautiful writing. I think it has more to do with the world itself, that we understand it so well that when you drop a character in, if you tell us they're Shienaran or something, then we just know who it is, and we can give them a little bit of a backstory. And Malinarin was a great example of that. It really set up the emotional stakes as we're going into the final battle. For the first time, Gawain chapters didn't feel like a chore to get through. Same with Galad or Galad. P.S. I'll never forgive Jordan for naming 4 characters associated with the Andoran royal family: Gawain, Galad, Gabriel, and Gareth Flaming Brine. But the absolute crowning moment in this book for me was the chapter that was split between the perspectives of Egwene, Perrin, and Gawain. The one where Egwene and Perrin are in Tel'aran'rhiod going through their thing while Gawain is trying to save Egwene and figure out the whole thing with the assassins. The chapter wove through perspectives just very naturally in a way that I feel like the books have not done before. Usually they're pretty distinct, the perspectives, but in this case it really felt like the stories built upon each other all in one chapter. I would never really consider Wheel of Time to be suspenseful. Like I've said before, I consider it fictional historical fiction. It's written like an account of something that did actually happen in this fantasy world, so there's not a lot of places to build suspense or really have any foreshadowing or anything like that. But this specific part was very, very suspenseful. I would like to applaud Egwene's arc. I watch a lot of horror movies, and I read almost exclusively high fantasy literature. And the thing that both of those have in common is that a lot of it is written by men. And men, generally, don't really know how to write women. In horror movies and fantasy literature, generally, when a man writes a female character, and this is, I guess, not the most modern problem, it still happens today, but it's not as big of a problem as it was, generally, the entire background of this woman character is going to be she was sexually assaulted and now she is blank. She's hardened, she's tougher, she's more forgiving. I don't know. There's a lot of different things that they try to do, and it's always the same ghost that they are dealing with. And it's a serious problem. I mean, we saw it just a couple years ago with Sansa's arc in HBO's Game of Thrones. Sansa was abused both sexually, physically, and emotionally for a majority of the time that we see her. That isn't necessarily the worst thing to address. They handled it very poorly by her saying that she's not the little bird she was, that she has grown from all these experiences. Any psychologist, any person who actually knows how to talk about those things is going to tell you that's not how you talk about those things. And it's just a really bad example. I think that we should actually listen to the psychologists and the people who are experts on how to portray things like suicide and sexual assault in media. We should listen to them and do what they recommend, because there are a lot of impressionable people, and there are a lot of people out there who care about these shows, and they don't like hearing that sexual assault makes you stronger. That's not a healthy thing to say. Anyway, sorry, got a little dark there. Let's get back to Wheel of Time. Egwene overcoming her challenges that she faced early on with the Seanchan and actually breaking the Adam in the end was very, very perfect. That was exactly what Egwene needed to do, or our physical representation of what Egwene needed to do in order to realize her arc. And finally, the Aelfinn and the Ealfinn were great. I really liked that part. The only thing I didn't like about it was that Noel... I wasn't really paying close attention to his character for the last few books, so his whole thing was completely lost on me, and that's more on me than the books themselves. I'm sure on a reread, Noel will be a much more distinct character in my mind. Anyway, that's all I have on this book. I have a lot of things planned for post Memory of Light when I finish the series. I have a few sketches, and based on how well I follow through with things, I will do about half of those things that I have planned. Anyway, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe so you can keep up with me and hear what I have to say about Memory of Light and Wheel of Time as a whole. You can pay attention to those sketches that I'm going to be doing. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Towers of Midnight, what your favorite part of the series was. And anyway, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. Love you all. Peace.